Hello, everybody. Ella J here for our wrestling gal, and today I'm joined by the Lass from Leeds, Victoria Ryan. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks.
I am so excited to catch up with you. Like I said, it is literally been like 4 years. September of 2020
Yes.
is now August of 2024. A lot has changed for you. You've since made your professional wrestling debut. You're
Yes, I
about
have. Yes.
three and a half years since your debut. Actually, 3.5 years, kind of exactly, because I think it was February of 21.
It
Um,
was, yes.
yeah, so you've been in the game for a hot minute. Now, obviously, we'll talk all about wrestling, but of course, I would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about books, since you are a big reader and a a bullet journaler. What are you currently reading right now?
So right now I am currently going between two books. So I'll get onto the second one, but the first one is Bridget Jones' Diary. So the books came out way before the movies. So
Yeah.
it's really nice to rereading it and just being like immersed in it and like hearing the movie while you're reading it. It's like, what? It's so weird. And then the second book is War and Peace. I've been reading it for, I'm not gonna lie, maybe about 4 months now. It's just one of those books that you're reading and you're just like, I don't want to read this anymore. But I set myself a goal. So I'm like, I'm gonna finish this. Hell or high water, I will finish War and Peace by the end of the year.
How far into it are you?
I think I'm only like maybe 150 pages into it. So it's still really early days in the book. So it's kind of just it's just not for me, it's not engaging enough.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, I'm over this.
I mean, honestly, sometimes if you don't like it, like wrestling, if you can experiment with something, if you don't like it, can put it away for a little bit, you know?
Yes, yeah. That's why I'm like, I'll put it down. I'll read another book. Oh, okay, I enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go back now. And so that's what I'm kind of doing. But I'm running out of the year, and I
Yeah.
said I would finish it by the end of the year. So it's
Okay.
it's becoming a chore now. It's like, right, 20 pages
Mhm.
today. Right, right, just 20 pages today.
And take it in small doses, just one of those things.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So, what genres do you typically gravitate toward? Obviously, I can assume kind of not. I don't even know. Is it like I don't even know if it's like historical. I have not read War and Peace, so I don't really know. I just know it's a classic. That's all I know about it.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. War and Peace is the classic. So I don't really gravitate to any genre. What
Okay.
was what was I was doing is I'm a massive Gilmore Girls fan.
Yeah.
And there's a challenge out there called the Rory Gilmore Reading Book Challenge, and it's all the books that are referenced within the TV show, and War and Peace is on there. So I was like, okay, I'll have to give that a read. But I gravitate more at the moment this year to adult romance, a bit smutty, a bit on the other side of the scale.
We'll
So
say
it's a bit
adventurous.
yes, 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 yes. We'll see adventurous. But yes, it's and I think it's my age as well. Like when I was younger, it was Harry Potter and this and that, and now I'm in my 30s, it's like, oh, we'll have fantasy and romance and heartache. So you're like, you change.
Yeah. What would you say are your top? I'll give you three to be nice. What would
Okay.
you say your top three books slash novels of all time?
Oh, that is interesting. Breakfast at Tiffany's. I love the book, love the movie. It's just one of
Mhm.
those like I've got you just got
Yeah.
to. I think Harry Potter. I loved the books, and then the movies just made it pretty much the same, so that was good. Oh, I'm trying to think of the third one. Let me think. Maybe Dracula. I reread that this year, but I've always been like I've always liked those kind of things, and I
Mm.
grew up loving Halloween and fall. So yeah.
Now I have to ask you because for me, it's been Halloween season since June. I know that's a little bit early, but now since we're in August, when does your Halloween slash spooky season start? Actually,
Um,
I don't even know, is it a big thing in New Zealand now that I ask? Yeah, I just
no.
thought about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. they seem to not know what Halloween,
Mm.
fall, Thanksgiving, or Christmas is. They
In
do
your
Christmas
household, it
parades. We
is
have
though.
Oh, in my house, yes.
Yeah.
My husband is very kind of like, okay, like he just leaves me be. But because of the seasons changed, everything's flipped at this side.
True. Yeah.
For me, spooky season starts like June. The moment
Thank
the
you.
moment the weather starts changing over here, it's like boom, Halloween already. And it's like, but it's not October, and it's like, yes, but Halloween is fall, is winter, is gonna be this. So yeah.
Thank you. So for me in America after like Memorial Day, which is like big fireworks day, then it
Yeah.
I just skip over 4th of July here. Give me it's spooky season for me. So thank I know different time zones and seasons, but thank you. Somebody else agrees with
Yes.
me.
Yes.
I am very much a spooky person myself. I kind of want to talk about that then because it's one of my favorite things is spooky
Yes.
season and fall. Obviously, you've already gone past fall technically. I
Yes.
believe
And
you're in
winter.
you're in winter right now. But what
Yeah.
are some of your favorite, fall trends and stuff like that? I'm interested because again, you're from the you have the UK, but then you also have New
Yes.
Zealand, that you kind of have that duality in there. So what are
Yeah.
some of your favorite trends?
Pumpkin spice lattes. They are up there. Like the moment they hit the shops, the moment they hit all the retailers, I'm like boom, boom, boom. I have a very fancy coffee machine, so you can get pods that are pumpkin spice flavored. So I'm like, right, I'm gonna get like 6 packets of these to
Yeah.
last me. Like that's up there. As soon as they are online, it's like boom, we're going. I am drinking this for like ever now until they stop. So that's the number one thing. And I think then the next one for me is the movies, the Halloween spooky movies and watching them. And even though you can't watch them in the dark, because by the time we get to Halloween here, it's the sun is still up at 6, 7
That's
o'clock at
true.
night. But you don't get that like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? It's like, oh right, yeah, cool. We're
That's
watching a
why
horror
you
movie.
start in June when it's winter time for you.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm,
I just made my husband rewatch. I've seen them loads of times. Rewatch
yeah.
the original run of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And he is just like, what's going off? And I'm like, it's the 80s. It's the 80s. So you
Is
just have
that
to watch
like
them.
one of your top tier movies is Nightmare on Elm Street?
Not top tier now,
Okay.
but it was one of those that I grew up with in the 90s because it was 80s. So it was kind of like those kind of early movies, where when you watch them now, they're not that scary, I've got to admit. You kind of watch them and you're like,
Yeah.
why was I terrified of this as a child? But at the time, you're like, this was good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What are your top tier Halloween slash horror slash spooky films then?
My top one's got to be Scream. I love, like, obviously Wes Craven is up there as like
Yeah.
a Halloween creator, but Scream was that when Scream came out, I was around, it's a little bit young for the movie, but I was still in that teenager phase of like, oh, and it being so meta and so just like new to the franchise and to the kind of meaning, it just sticks out as something that's like Scream is there.
Mhm.
Not so much the last few movies, even though I've loved them, they've not been Scream for me.
Mhm. Okay.
But the original like trilogy of Scream is up there. And then I think Alien, all the Aliens, Prometheus, all those ones are up there because it's just what they did in the time, and just like the whole like culture around it and the references and just everything is just like, yes.
You know what? I was watching a lot of maybe it's because I was kind of introduced to them young. I was definitely watching some horror movies when I was like 10 or 11 when I should not have been. Like
Yes,
the
yes,
original Exorcist, I remember like the one from the 70s, I think whatever the original one
yes.
is. I seen that and then I think it's called Night of the Living Dead. I also should not have been watching that. But maybe that's kind
Yeah.
of and also like I'm born 5 days before Halloween, so maybe it's just ingrained in me. Um, so I feel like I've just always leaned more towards spooky season and all of
Yeah.
that. So I'm so excited for that coming up. Thank you for agreeing with me because everybody thinks I'm crazy. I started my
Ugh.
Halloween shopping literally in June and I've ordered some more lately. So thank you. Thank you for agreeing with me.
I've got to say I am very jealous. I keep seeing on the best app in the world, TikTok. I just keep seeing all these videos of like Code Orange and
I
Marshalls
know.
and Bed Bath and
Yeah.
Beyond in this, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, Code Orange in New Zealand starts like the week before Halloween and ends like the day after Halloween, and then it's Christmas. But
Yeah.
even then, it's nothing, and it's because no one
Yeah.
celebrates Halloween here. No one does trick or treat, and it's not a thing. So
Was it a big thing? Because you spent obviously like the first, most of your life in the UK. Was it a big
yes.
thing in the UK? Now
Oh,
you
100%.
so what you need to do is you need to spend one of these Halloweens either in the UK or the US, like so you can
Oh,
get that true
that
vibe
yes.
back.
I am like every year I'm like, can we go to the US for Halloween, Thanksgiving? And my husband is like, no. And I'm like, please,
Just once, even just once.
just
Like
once,
that's
just
all you
once,
need,
just
fulfill
once.
that craving, as they say.
But then I might just never leave. So
You know what? That's fair. That's fair. I
yeah.
love fall season, so I don't blame you. We were talking obviously about books.
Mm.
Tori, the hard-hitting journalist, she was laying down into the journalism books. Have you taken any inspiration from books and maybe incorporated it into your wrestling character or in-ring arsenal at some point?
Definitely in Tori, with her being the hard-hitting journalist,
Yeah.
the vlogger, YouTuber. I definitely took book inspirations and oh, sorry, my headphones falling out. And definitely like different characters and sort of just the whole kind of like immersing yourself in a character or finding out stuff. I just loved building that into my character. Not so much Victoria Ryan. She doesn't follow the rules. She doesn't
Yeah.
follow the rules. She doesn't like books. She doesn't like doing her own research. But it was definitely something I did pull out and like build because I really liked building the characters.
Yeah, and like you said, a lot has changed since the last time I talked to you. You have since transformed into Lass from Leeds, Victoria Ryan. You've since made
Yes.
your pro wrestling debut. Especially in the early years of your wrestling career, you're trying to find yourself, but you're also trying to, you know, hone your craft inside the ring as well. Can you talk about the process of developing yourself from a character aspect and who Victoria kind of is right now as a character? Obviously, like you said, she's a little bit of a mean girl.
Yes,
She really
she
doesn't
is. She's
care,
definitely
but
mean. At first she wasn't as mean, because like you just said, you got to build that character. You've got to find your
yeah,
feet in the ring, what the
yeah.
audience gets from you. And my namesake actually comes from another wrestler who wrestled in the UK and under the NXT brand for a bit before he actually came to New Zealand and stuff. So his name is Ringo Ryan. So we had that kind of like Ringo Ryan and Victoria Ryan like
Yeah.
team thing. So we had this Britishness about us, like we were coming to invade New Zealand and show the Kiwis how to wrestle the British way. So a lot of that early stage of my development for Victoria Ryan was the British style of wrestling and kind of that aspect of my character. And then the more matches I had, the way things were just developing, I just was like, oh, I want to go down this path now. I want to start like edging towards this. And the more mean and heel and sort of cheating I got, I developed into a different version of myself, which I don't think I'll change for now.
Okay. Okay. It's that beauty though, especially early on when you're trying to find your footing, at least you have that creative freedom, you can
Yes.
experiment if things don't work, you can drop it, you can fine tune stuff, you can reinvent yourself, and obviously you dropped Tori, the hard hitting journalist, and you're now the
Yes.
Last from Leeds. That's the beauty of it, independent wrestling is that creative freedom. And obviously a big part of your presentation is also ring gear. I've obviously seen some Britons, the British flag, UK
Yes.
flag gear. Where do you typically look towards for inspiration for your when you're crafting and envisioning your ring gears?
Well, originally, so my first gear, Victoria Ryan's very first gear. Sorry, just give me a second.
Okay.
So Victoria Ryan's very first gear is actually another Kiwi's wrestler's very first gear. Well, not her first gear, but one of her, Dakota Kai.
Yes, the
As
purple. Yeah.
Yeah, the purple. So when she was in New Zealand as Evie for IPW, that was her gear. So I inherited that gear. I wore that gear. So it had this kind of like whole connection thing. And then as time went on and I developed my character and I became the Lass From Leeds, I was like, I need a new gear. I need to reinvent myself. I need to be me. And so I contacted a few designers and kind of like threw around ideas. And it actually came about when I was designing my new gear. It was going to be purple and gold and black. So it was still my old gear, but just reinvented. And it was over the Queen's birthday, obviously, God rest her soul, but it was over the Queen's birthday, 2022, I believe now. And she came up with this design and she was like, oh, I was watching some thing from the UK about the Queen, and I've thought, actually, you're from the UK originally. Why do we not just go full pell and give you a Union Jack gear with these epaulettes on it and everything? And I'm just like, and she did a sketch, and I was just like, yes, that is it. That's what I've been looking for. I just couldn't creatively find it. It was one of those kind of like, I'm good in the ring and creativity and matches and stuff, but when making up gear, I knew what I wanted, but I just couldn't put it down on paper.
Now, how exactly did you inherit Dakota Kai's gear? I'm so curious. How does that work?
Yeah, so I've never met Dakota Kai, unfortunately.
She's lovely.
I hope one day I do get to meet her and basically be like, I've got your gear, like, and
Yeah.
show and be like, it was actually gifted to me by someone who wrestled with her here in New Zealand, and then had gone to the UK and wrestled herself. But she doesn't wrestle anymore. She's retired and everything. And she had the gear and she was like, I want to gift it to you. Like, it was gifted to me, so I'll gift it to you to wear for your debut. So that's how it all came about. And then now it's just, I'm ready to pass that on to somebody else as and when they may or may not be ready, and also if they fit into it, because it's a very tight gear.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious too, obviously Australia, obviously close proximity is already like a small bubble itself, but New Zealand is an even smaller bubble, subset of wrestling, especially in the last couple of years, I feel like there's been an influx of talent. Like there's a new wave of talent coming through New
Mm.
Zealand and Australia. For those who aren't familiar, can you tell us about some of the other names that you've been working with in the New Zealand scene since you made your debut 3.5 years ago?
Yeah, they've been quite a lot. Some names have been around for a few years prior,
Yeah.
and some new ones. So one of them, I actually have had a fair few matches with this person, and it's intergender. His name is Horus, the Duke of Death, and he does lots of death matches. So we ended up having a weapons match, which blew me away because it was my very first weapons match, and he took really good care of me. But he just, from when he debuted to now, is just whew, like double champion, and he goes up and down the country, and he's been to Australia and also wrestled over there, and he just is phenomenal, and he really takes care of people inside the ring and outside of the ring as well. And he's definitely a very close friend. Like, you can go to him for any advice and he'll just tell you straight whether it's good or not. And then some of the new talent, there's a guy called Bobby Wishart, who is, as the name Bobby Wishart, he's just the heartthrob of New
Yeah.
Zealand. He travels up and down, and everyone loves him, including the kids. Kind of jealous because he has some glasses that are pink love heart, glow in the dark, like they glow, and I'm just like, I want them. I want them glasses. But he's just, again, he's crafted his character, and he's still got a long way to go. Like, I'm nowhere near perfect, but he is he is up and coming, and he's definitely out there. And then I do have to shout out someone that I've not managed to have a chance wrestling yet. Fingers crossed. Maybe this year or next year I will actually get to fight her. She's called Mighty Maya, and she is one of the new females that have debuted in the past year or two. And just because of scheduling conflicts and other issues, we haven't personally wrestled, but we've messaged and we're kind of like,
Yeah.
we want it. It's just we've got it. The cards have got to fall. She is definitely, she's representing Kiwi and Kiwi culture and New Zealand. So she's definitely making a name for herself. And so hopefully we get to have the Kiwi Lass From Leeds versus Mighty Maya match one day. But she's taking the scene by storm, and she's definitely gonna go somewhere. I think she's definitely gonna go there.
I think the US might have an equivalent because we have a Mighty Myra. She's based
Oh
on
wow.
the
Okay.
West Coast here in
Yeah.
California. I've spoken with her before, so that might be a battle we need to get her. I feel like we need to get her over to Australia for that battle, kind of for
Yeah,
the
definitely.
namesake.
Yeah.
Obviously, you said you obviously have a lot of growing to do, but you've also grown so much in such a short period of time. So, how do you think you've grown as a person and as a competitor in these last 3.5 years?
Due to injuries and COVID
You're also
and
married
just
now.
and married as well, yeah. I did take some time out in the lead up to the wedding because I didn't want to get injured or just anything.
Yeah,
And
of
then I
course.
did break my nose 2 years ago. So it's kind of in the past couple of years, I kind of went full pelt when I first started, just before COVID, and then after COVID, I was like training constantly and just just going full pelt to the metal. And then we went in and out of lockdowns again, and I
Yeah.
lost motivation and I lost that kind of rhythm. And I gained it back, but then it just became not important to me as it was. So it was like, how can I balance what's now important with what's still important, but not as much? So it was slowing down, like redeveloping that character and building it more in a way of, if I do miss a training or not, like what can I still bring to my character to keep her there, but not so much as put either myself or someone else in danger in the ring. And listening, um, just to anybody, whether they've been around 10 years, 5 minutes, just it's that listening, because you never know that they could say something and you could be like, I never thought of that. And I think a lot of earlier wrestlers and new wrestlers coming into the scene, especially now, they talk so much. And I probably did it at the start as well. But I think people just have to listen. You have to just stop, listen, and kind of take in everything. So I think that's one thing I've definitely learned to do, and putting myself first, like making sure that I know what I'm doing and that I'm comfortable doing it, whether it is matches, shows, promotions I want to work for, and standing up for myself as well and being like, no, that doesn't align with me, so I'm not going to do it. Um, and that just comes with time and I think age. I think a lot of the new wrestlers, not just here, but I think globally, they just want to do everything and everything. They just want to do
Yeah.
everything because they think that if they do everything, that will give them a bigger chance. And sometimes it might pay off. But I think some people just need to pull back and be like, I need to pick and choose because that's going to be better for me mentally and physically and as a wrestler.
Weird. There's so many things to navigate within the world of wrestling, and also keep trying to keep yourself sane and all of that. But like
Yes.
we said, you are now a proud married lady. How have you been adjusting
Yes, I
to
am.
married life so far?
Um, to be honest, we get this question a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I've been getting it a hell of a lot. And some of it is, it just feels like a normal day. Like, except my name changed and
Yeah.
I have now a husband, not a fiance or a
Yeah,
boyfriend.
yeah.
Some things didn't change. Like it didn't. But then other things did change in like our personal lives and where we want to go and what we want to do. It's not a case of, well, I want to do this, this, and this, and all of this. Like, it's we now. It's a we thing. So the movement to that and sort of just, getting older, it's kind of scary. And I think sometimes we overthink and kind of be like, oh, excuse me. We kind of overthink and be like, okay, we're gonna da, da, da. And then you're like, no, we don't need to. We can just we'll take it slowly. We'll do this. So yeah, it's definitely it's a change, but not a change. There's, changing your name and going around and being like, I'm married and doing all this is nice. But then some things you're just like, we come home and cook and eat like we did beforehand. Nothing's changed in that aspect.
It's just a kind of a formality thing, I guess. Yeah, you're used to each other at this
Yes,
point. That's
yeah,
the beauty of it. It wasn't like this like huge transition and all of that. So that's good to
yeah.
hear. As you're looking towards the future now, obviously, what are some of your personal and professional goals? The last time we talked to you, we had talked about 5-year goals. It's now been 4 years since then. What are your next goals for the next 5 years?
Oh, that's a hard one because, like you said, so much has changed in the last 5 years. My
Yeah.
goals that I said 5 years ago are probably out of the window now. I definitely want to keep wrestling. Maybe not for the full 5 years, but definitely
Mhm.
the next few years, 18 months to 24 months, definitely going to start keep wrestling and kind of getting my name out there and building up the next talent, the next generation, especially women, because there is not that many women in New Zealand. So just making sure we push them to be good and sort of like you can leave a legacy. um then professionally, that's kind of where I want to go. Still wrestle, still be a heel, still be mean, and still, just having fun with it. Just having fun. Maybe a belt, maybe championship here and there, or even a chance. Not even
Yeah.
if I win, just kind of be like, so you can put it on your record. You'd be like, I had that. I've already had a weapons match
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it's just having those different goals of being like, what other matches do I want to do? Do I want to do a TLC match? Do I want to do this match? And kind of building that
Mm.
before I may hang up the boots. Which goes on to the next thing of personal. Yes, as I am a recently married woman and I'm not getting any younger. So there is the question flying around there of kids and whether I want them, we want them and stuff. And we do want kids. It's something we've not hidden, and I've not hidden with trainers or anything over the past couple of years. I've been very honest and being like, as soon as I get married, there's gonna be those questions of kids. It's just when,
Yeah.
really, to be honest. So, my trainers know a time frame of what I would like to get accomplished within a certain time frame before I go have a kid and potentially maybe come back, do a Becky Lynch and Ronda and maybe come back just to come back, do something, put over the new talent and then leave again. But that's obviously, I've got to have the kid first to see if I want to come back. So, in the next 5 years, potentially a child. I'd say a child or two, but let's have one first and see how we feel.
Or you could be lucky to have twins or triplets right off the
Oh
bat.
no,
I'm just
please don't,
saying.
please don't. Get it over and done with in the
Knock on
first. Oh yeah,
wood.
but I don't think I would. No, I think having two cats and a child, or I think I'll be fine with that.
One child per cat. There you go.
That's true. Actually, we could do that.
You could have
Yeah,
twins. That's
I think my
funny.
husband would love that. Actually, he'd be like, "Yes," and I'd be like, "Oh no."
No, but obviously I know obviously Becky Lynch is very, impactful on your career, the
Yeah,
idea behind, your moniker and one of the big reasons you started to wrestle yourself, I assume
yeah.
she's probably a dream opponent of yours. So final question, who are some of your if you had the playbook and, nothing was off limits, who are some of your other dream opponents that you would like to share a ring with?
Except Becky Lynch. She's
Yes,
up
of
there.
course.
She's
Of course.
top tier. If that ever day came, it'd be like, yes, put me in the ring with her.
Yeah.
I think recently, Liv Morgan. I've always liked her,
Yeah.
but never seen her as an opponent for myself. Never kind of
Yeah.
been like, oh yeah. But the
That's because she's
last,
been like the bubbly girl, now she's really
yeah,
digging into like psychotic heel. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of that I've got to give credit to Becky for.
Yeah.
She came back when Rhea got injured, and she really pushed Liv to be what she is today. I'm not saying that's all Becky's doing, but yeah, definitely Liv Morgan now. So I've been watching her recently and been picking up some sort of like, oh, okay, I like that, and kind of she's developing into a character where I think she's definitely
Mm.
needs to stay there. And I think the other one, which is a recent Australian actually, who is now coming to the US, Delta. I have been watching her career since the beginning, really, because I've been wanting to go over to Australia, and just unfortunately COVID and all those things kind of just threw it out the window. And then before
Mm.
you know it, it was like, oh, I'm getting married now, so I can't be affording flights, and they just get more and more expensive, even though we're literally just a stone throws away for them. But Delta has been up there. She's been one that I'm like, I would love to share the ring with her. Like, she'd probably throw me around like a rag doll and I'd just not survive, because she is a beast.
I
But
know.
she's phenomenal. She's absolutely phenomenal, and I'm so glad that she got signed and that she's doing something, because she was someone who I was like, if she doesn't get signed, like she's got it. Someone's got to pick her up.
Yeah. I think she's been wrestling about the same. You might have a couple months on her, but I think it was like 2021. Maybe I think
Yeah.
that was her debut about the same time as you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so you two are on obviously similar like planes, obviously, but now, I'm interested to see. I hope they don't make her change her look, like because the red hair is
Yes,
just
that's
a it's just like a
uh
staple. I mean, they can't get rid of her strength. That's gonna have to stay. But I'm
no.
like, are they gonna change, like they like changed like Saray's look a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, please keep her the Adelaide. You can change the moniker you want, but keep the foundation there. That's like all
Yeah.
I'm
It's the
asking
hairstyle,
for.
the shave sides,
Yeah.
the makeup, like
Yeah. It's like keep
maybe
it,
the gear.
please. Maybe.
Maybe
Yeah.
the gear, but
Yeah.
that's just probably more money,
Yeah.
and being able to have a bit more creativity.
Yeah.
But I really hope they don't make her change her hair or a look, because that's
Yeah.
what made her her.
Yeah. We'll see. It's supposed to be her, Julia, and Stephanie back here, so that's gonna be a heck of a class there.
It really will be.
To the
I'm going to be super excited to see
Yeah,
them.
Well, hopefully you do get over, to Australia sometime within this next 18 months, 2 years. There's
Yeah,
a lot of my good friends over there that I know are yearning to face some new talent, because it's such a bubble, and I'm sure some of them are wanting to go over to New Zealand since it is so
yeah.
close. So fingers crossed for that. Before we let you go, please share where the listeners can find you online and support you.
So I am on Twitter and Instagram as Victoria_life on camera, and the same on TikTok as well. Which TikTok's just one of those things, but yeah, Victoria_life on camera, and I'll just put in Victoria Ryan, and you'll be able to find me no problem on any social media platforms.
Yes, ma'am. Well, Victoria, it has been so good getting to catch up with you. It's been a long time coming. I'm so proud of, you've made you've long past made your debut since the last time I talked to you. But
Yeah,
it's crazy, how fast time flies. Now, you're thinking about the next phase of your career, which is a family potentially. Obviously, I wish you and your
yeah.
now husband the best of luck and happiness and all
Thank
of
you.
that. Thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me. It's been amazing, and I'm so glad we finally got to catch up again.